Hi gang. So we are working on something really exciting today. You want to see? Alright, you guys ready for this? It's exciting, right? No, it's a boring old set of pine drawers. All the years that I've been doing this is the first set of plain pine drawers I've ever done, I think. Don't think I've done one like this before. Um, I know it's a pretty common piece to get flipped because it's such an easy, straightforward thing to do. Like paint it one color, maybe put a stain on the top, get it sold quick. For some reason, I've just never got my hands on a set until now, and yeah. So here we are doing a pine chest of drawers. The first thing I'm doing is getting rid of these pesky little handles. I'm not throwing them out though because you never know, they might come in handy for something. So I'm not going to show the full cleaning process because when you've seen it once, you've seen it a million times. But I gave it a full clean with Cuts and Millie Clean Cut and then went over it with just straight water to get rid of any residue to make sure I have a nice clean surface to paint on. It will help with adhesion and you really don't want to be painting over grime and dust. One of the first things I knew I wanted to do with this piece was get rid of these old bun feet. They're not even nice looking shapely bun feet, they're just little old burger buns. They don't look very nice. They were easy to remove. I just pulled out 2 screws and they were held on with some glue. One of them came off alright, the rest needed a little gentle persuasion. The other thing I don't like about this style of drawers is this blunt edge that's on the top and the bottom. I wanted to round those over as much as I could so that I could give them a bit more of a vintage look as opposed to the, old 90s pine drawer look. So I just used my Cuts and Millie orbital sander and smoothed those over. They're not perfect, they're not accurate, they're probably not the same all over, but it looked a damn sight better by the time I was done with it. Whilst I had my sander out, I gave the rest of the piece a good scuff sand and a smooth over. I decided to put the new feet on before painting the drawers because I didn't want to have to flip it over onto its back again once I was done painting it and making it look all pretty. So these new feet, these lovely new feet, were gifted to me by Angela. You know that name by now. She got these for me on my Amazon wish list. I'll put the link in the description, as well as the link for these feet in the description if anyone else is interested. These feet were really easy to install. I basically started with a pilot hole and then I went up to my biggest drill bit. I didn't have a drill bit that was quite big enough for the base plate for these feet, so I had to use one of my countersinking bits to make the hole big enough, but it worked and I got it in there and it was all good. Then I fitted the 3 screws that came with the base plate and then screwed the foot in. Before I get stuck into painting the drawers, I'm wrapping the feet in foil to protect them because I'm a messy painter. Yes, I know, I could have just put the feet on afterwards, but like I said before, I didn't want to have to flip it onto its back once it was painted. It's my thing and I'm doing it, alright? Alright, it is finally time to start painting. It is bloody hot today, oh my god. It was hot yesterday, but it's even hotter today. I have a whole bunch of what I have called Chandelle Green. I'm hoping that I've pronounced her name right. So this is the colour that I mixed recently for this piece that I did for a client. And this was one of the inspiration photos for what the colour that she wanted, and I mixed this colour based off of that. Keep coming back to this image on Pinterest because I actually had this image saved on Pinterest myself for ages before she showed it to me, and it just keeps coming back to me, and I just wanted to try and not replicate it but do a set of drawers in this colour. And I think this will look great with the dark furniture feet that I've attached to it. So I'm going to keep this relatively simple and use this colour again. And everyone else seemed to absolutely love this colour when I used it on the buffet. So yeah, that's the colour I'm using. And I'm going to be using my Two Fussy Blokes roller, my well-loved smooth roller sleeve. It's been washed several times, and I'm using my 12mm Eco brush. Love this thing. Let's do it. I think one of the things I was looking forward to most about this piece was all of the big flat surfaces and the fact that I could use my roller on the majority of it. Obviously, I'm using my Eco brush on the parts where the roller doesn't get to, but this was an absolute breeze to paint. Whilst this is my own custom colour that I've mixed, I'm using Millie boutique mineral paints, and they are so easy to use. They are self-sealing, self-leveling, and they have a buttery, soft matte finish. The other great thing about Millie boutique mineral paints is the fact that you do not have to sand in between coats. Because I do have parts on this piece where I have sanded all the way down to raw wood, typically it would be a good idea to go over those parts with a primer, but in this case I'm confident in this paint that I do not need to do it. So for these parts I will smooth sand before the final coat. So I do 2 coats all over, and then after the second coat dries, I smooth sand the sections where I've gone down to raw wood, and then I go in with my final coat. I also don't seem to have a great deal of issues with temperature when it comes to this paint. So here in Ipswich we were having temperatures of between 35 and 40 degrees for a few days, and at this point in my shed it was well over 40 degrees. I was suffering, but the paint wasn't. You can see here a time lapse of the paint drying, and it still dried perfectly and I didn't have any issues. Now I am going to be doing some black wax details on these drawers, but first I'm going in with Millie boutique hemp salve so that I have a clear base to work on. I let my clear wax sit for 10 to 15 minutes before I went in with my black wax. And when I'm doing detailed waxing like this, I like to use one of these little stencil brushes for the detailed parts. I didn't want the black detail to be super obvious and in your face. It was just to kind of lift these lines a little bit to give them a little bit more, I don't know, drama. Not a great deal of drama, just a little bit, little sprinkle. Just like with the clear wax, I let the black wax sit for 10-15 minutes, and then I went in with a clean rag and buffed it all. As you can see, that black wax that was sitting on top where I went over the top is all coming off really well, and that is because I went in with the clear wax first. I didn't want the black to be super prominent, which is why I did the clear wax first. So if you want your black wax to be really prominent and really bold and stand out, just go in with the straight black wax. Probably a little bit less so if you're using a straight chalk paint, because the more porous it is, the more wax it will hold on to. But the good thing about wax is if you do go over the top with the black wax or the brown wax or whatever colour wax you're using, you can go in with clear wax, and generally speaking it will take it back. Now the only thing I have left to do is to install the new hardware. I wasn't 100% settled on what handles I was going to use on these drawers, which is why I didn't drill my holes before painting. The technique I'm using to mark out my new holes for the hardware is pretty self-explanatory, but I will slow it down for you now. These are the cup pulls that I am using. I will put the link for these in the description. They are from Amazon. As you can see here, taking the tape off does leave a little bit of residue on the wax on the surface, but it's not a problem because when I've got all the handles installed, I just go in with my wax cloth again and just buff it again, and it was all good. And here I was getting ready to stage photos. I can just imagine how many people were screaming at me, "Take the foil off!" Quick reminder of that pine orange look. And now here he is, a dapper young man all dressed up in a vintage suit for a night out on the town. I know I say this all the time, but I absolutely love this piece and how it turned out. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to check the description for all of the products used in this video. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. I do not bite. And if you aren't subscribed yet, why not? Please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you can see when new videos are up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.